Howdy, friendos. TheKrazyJason here, and you have entered my wacky emporium. That's right, welcome. It's time for another weekly roundup. I've got a great stack of Blu-rays and DVDs here, so let's jump right in. First up, we have Sweet Smell of Success, the Criterion Blu-ray release that was released earlier this year, I believe. It's a fairly new release. I picked this up on Amazon. Fairly good price. Now, one thing about this release, it's kind of broken with their more recent releases on the clear keep cases. And I'm going to show you, this is going to get on a lot of people's nerves. Even got on my nerves a little bit. But it's a beautiful, beautiful artwork. But then when you take the box off, you have that, which is also beautiful, and you're getting the idea that it's some sort of digipack. And when I first started to open it up, I thought it was a full-blown digibook. But then the book just slipped right out, leaving this, which I really don't like. This is not a really good design for me. However, I do have to say that the book is really thick and it's packed with a lot of good information. Oh, that smell. Can't get enough of that smell. It smells like fresh paint. Anyway, if you've never seen The Sweet Smell of Success, I highly recommend it. It was released in 1957. Starring Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis. Burt Lancaster plays a gossip columnist on Broadway, and Tony Curtis plays Sidney Falco, a press agent, who's a real, like, slimy, smarmy snake of a person, who he delivers, like, all the tidbits to the columnist. And somehow he has gotten in with Burt Lancaster's character. He's kind of become like his gopher, his little puppy dog. And he has him do the most loathsome thing. And the main focus of this story is Burt Lancaster's sister, who's much younger than him. You get the idea that their parents died when they were very young. But Burt Lancaster's much older than this girl. I mean, by like 20 years or more. And so basically, he raised her kind of like a daughter, and he makes it very, very clear that she's all he has in the world, that she's the most important thing to him. And he wants to control her. He wants to keep this relationship of her being his little sister. And she goes and dates this band leader, this jazz band leader. And he doesn't like that one bit. So he hires Tony Curtis's character, Sidney Falco, to break up that relationship using any nefarious, nasty means necessary. And this is just a nasty movie. There's no, I guess, there's no real protagonist. You talk about anti-heroes. I wouldn't even call Sidney Falco an anti-hero. He's just a loathsome character. I mean, you're watching, you keep reaching for something in him to find that's human. And, early on, you get a sense of his humanity, and he kind of gets across that he understands that he's crossing a line. And he even says in the film that he's at a crossroads. And by the end of the film, he's just totally sold his soul. It's a film about loathsome people. People who will do anything to get ahead in the world. And terrific performances by Burt Lancaster and especially Tony Curtis. I mean, he just lays it all out there. I mean, he's just such a sniveling character. Beautiful cinematography by James Wong Howe, and great script by Clifford Odets and Ernest Lehman. And it's great. It was the film that I wanted Naked City to be. You know, it really showed New York in that kind of high contrast, black and white, you know, photography that James Wong Howe delivers in this film. In fact, a lot of people may be put off by, and it's because of the Blu-ray transfer. The DVD upscaled actually looks really good, but the Blu-ray, because of its ability to resolve film grain so well, it looks like somebody's taken a salt and pepper shaker and doing that on the image throughout the entire film. I mean, it's just got so much grain in it, and it's so gritty. So I do need to warn you about that. It's one of those movies that just is gripping from beginning to end. You can't categorize it. I can't say what genre this fits in. This is not something that's easily categorized. But for those of you who are wanting to know, it has a lot of great features, and I'll just go ahead and read them off here. Exclusive new digital restoration from the original 35mm camera negative with uncompressed monaural track. New audio commentary featuring film scholar James Nairmore. McKendrick, The Man Who Walked Away, that's the director of the film. A 1986 documentary featuring interviews with director Alexander McKendrick, actor Burt Lancaster, producer James Hill, and others. James Wong Howe, cinematographer, a 1973 documentary about the Oscar-winning director of photography, featuring lighting tutorials with Howe. Now, this is something I watched right away because I'm always interested in, I mean, I really took to cinematography when I was in school, and just always absolutely fascinated to read anything about cinematographers and their techniques, and documentaries about, you know, what they think and their philosophy on film lighting. Let's see what else. New video interview with film critic and historian Neil Gabler about legendary columnist Walter Winchell, inspiration for the character J.J. Hunsaker, which is the character played by Burt Lancaster. New video interview with filmmaker James Mangold about McKendrick, his instructor and mentor. McKendrick left filmmaking shortly after making this masterpiece, and he went on to become a film teacher for the rest of his life. And he really didn't return to making films. But he's considered to be one of the greatest film teachers. Original theatrical. And the booklet, featuring an essay by critic Gary Giddens, notes about the film, and 2 short stories introducing its characters by screenwriter Ernest Lehman, and an excerpt about Clifford Odets from McKendrick's book on filmmaking, introduced by the book's editor Paul Cronin. Yes, very good book. Inside, beautiful artwork, great Criterion edition. I highly recommend it. You can get it on Amazon right now for $25, or you can wait for the Barnes & Noble sale. Okay, next up, we move to banality with Jackass 3. That's right. Jackass 3 3D, and I'm sorry I missed this in the theater, because this actually comes with a bonus DVD disc. This is not actually, and I know a lot of people are going to be pissed off out there who have invested money in 3D televisions, but this is not the actual 3D Blu-ray. I don't know if they're going to release that at a later date, but it comes with a separate DVD that has anaglyph glass. I'll just go ahead and open it up and show you. Comes with the anaglyph glasses, so you can watch it 3D that way. And I watched half the film 3D that way, and it looked okay. I mean, there were some sequences that were actually fairly impressive. And, you know, I was actually thinking about just buying the single disc DVD, but I'm glad I got this edition because it comes with a lot. There's a lot of stuff in here. Not only does it comes with a Blu-ray, with, you know, the theatrical version and the unrated version. It comes with a DVD, which has the 3D version on it and a digital copy, which I probably won't use. But I watched half of it on the 3D DVD, and that was fun. And then I watched the rest of it on Blu-ray, and I've got to say, you know, they used a lot of really high-end cameras, like the red one. And so this is the first Jackass movie that is actually worthy of Blu-ray, in my opinion. Otherwise, the DVD would have been just fine. But, yeah, it's not as funny as Jackass 2. I know a lot of you out there probably don't even like Jackass at all. I didn't really become a fan of Jackass until I saw the movies. Saw the first one, thought it was hilarious. Saw the second one, thought it was a near masterpiece. Like a live-action Looney Tunes cartoon. But I knew going into this that I really didn't think there was any way they would be able to top Jackass 2. I just didn't think there would be any way they could do it, and they didn't. It's funny. It's definitely, if you're a Jackass fan, it's definitely worth your time. And I would recommend getting this version over just the DVD. I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. There were deleted scenes and outtakes, but not as much as the previous Jackass films. So maybe there will be a Jackass 3.5 release at some future date. I've always gotten the Jackass films as they come out. There was a $5 off coupon, printable coupon online, and Best Buy was carrying it for $23. So I got it for $18. Pretty good deal. I like the slipcover. What else can you say? Johnny Knoxville, these guys, I mean, they're in their 30s. Knoxville just turned 40 like a few days ago. And I gotta say, I mean, I like people like that who just don't live by society's rules. You know what I'm saying? They just, you know, they don't subscribe to the way people think they ought to. You know, they're 40. Who gives a fuck? They're doing what they want to do for a living. They're acting like fools. They're being children, you know, for a living. And I think it's just fucking fantastic. Man, I know, I just, I don't know. So I've got you know, a real affinity for the whole Jackass gang. Moving on. From Jackass to Raging Bull. Yes, finally on Blu-ray. Well, this is the 30th anniversary edition. The first Blu-ray was released 2 years ago. Has a nice slipcover. Unfortunately, I bought this at Walmart, and the tag, that fucking Walmart tag, just is stuck on there. I mean, it's just going to leave residue. It's hard to get off. What's the point in having a slipcover? What's the point of having any kind of artwork at all if you're just going to mar it with the stupid fucking tag? Thankfully, I've learned the joys of adhesive remover. You can get Google on. I use this Duck brand adhesive remover. It's got a nice orange scent to it. It does a fantastic job. Doesn't take the paper off. Gets all of the residue off. But I hate, you know, it offends me to even have to use this on things like this. They shouldn't be sticking the stickers on them in the first place. Anyway, you know, I was waffling on this Blu-ray because, first of all, I paid $15 for it. It was one of those things, and we made a video of me going to get it, and it was one of those things where it was sitting in the wrong place, and I assumed that they were just price matching Amazon, because at the time it was on Amazon for $15.99. So, you know, it was an assumption that it was $15. I mean, True Grit, the original, had just come out, I think the same week, also for $15. So, you know, I didn't think anything of it, but really it was supposed to be $20, so I scored it for $15. It's got 4 new featurettes on this edition. The reason why I was waffling is because this beautiful special edition just came out a few years ago. And I mean, I just love this edition. And oh man, just look at that. Look at that. Just an absolutely beautiful package. And then look at this. Cheap ass, eco, flapping around. So it's hard. I mean, there's absolutely no logical reason to keep this because everything has been ported over. All of the features have been ported over, plus there are new exclusive features on this one, plus it comes with a DVD. So this is absolutely 100% superfluous. And I was just really, I was holding back on buying it. I mean, it just, I don't know. What the fuck, man, you know? What's up? Why can't they break rank with Blu-ray and make some nice fucking packaging like this, like they did with DVDs? I mean, I don't know. So I'm going to hold on to this. I can't get rid of this. I mean, you know, and I probably wouldn't get more than $5 for it anyway, so I'm going to hold on to that. But as far as the Blu-ray is concerned, yeah, it looks gorgeous. That's a given. You know, every time I watch this movie, I get something new out of it. Jake LaMotta, again, here's another movie like Sweet Smell of Success, where you have this character who's extremely unpleasant. Jake LaMotta's, there's not much to root for there, but you know, he just lays it all out on the line. De Niro does in this film, and you know, every time I watch it, I get something different. It's always a new experience. The thing is, most people consider this to be the best film of the 80s, you know, like #1. And most people consider it to be one of the greatest films of all time. Now, I don't know if it was the best film of the 80s, but I would definitely put it in the top 100 of all time. The question is, I want to know from you guys, where would you put this movie? Where would you put it? Would you consider this to be the best movie of the 80s? Would you consider this to be in the top 100 of all time? Top 50 of all time? Yeah, the new features are really enlightening. Actually, that's not true at all. I was a little disappointed. They're a little short. You know, and then they're kind of rehashing the same old thing. You know, I got to hear again about, you know, Robert De Niro telling the studio executives that Jake LaMotta is not a cockroach, you know, and but, you know, the thing is, this really was De Niro and Scorsese's movie. I mean, the two of them combined in this movie. Scorsese and De Niro were at the height of their powers, respectively, as director and actor. And this is the product of those two individuals at the height, the peak of their artistic prowess. Not to say there weren't other people involved that, you know, you have to give a lot of credit to Thelma Schoonmaker, Scorsese's longtime editing collaborator. Behind every great director, there's usually a great woman editor. You found that with Tarantino as well. Sally Minky, I can't pronounce her name, and it's really sad because she just died. I'm butchering her name. But anyway, let's see what the time is here. Oh fuck, I need to move on. I'm taking up all the time in the world. Next up we have Psycho 2, 3, and 4. I picked this up at Big Lots a few weeks back, and just now got around to watching all 3 in a row. And so I'm going to give a brief about each one. Psycho 2 was a pretty good whodunit. In other words, I don't really regard these films in the same category as Psycho. I watched them. I didn't start with Psycho and then watch these 3 films. I watched these three films in a row, separate from Psycho. You know, obviously they're nowhere near as good as Psycho, but Psycho 2 was a pretty good whodunit. You know, they spend a lot of time creating this cast of characters. It's a little bit slow and plotting in the beginning, but in the end it turns out to be pretty good. Psycho 3 is pretty silly. That's the one that was directed by Norman Bates. I mean, directed by Anthony Perkins. It kind of plugged into the late 80s slasher film vibe with a lot of comedy. There were a lot of good kills. In 2 and 3, there are a lot of, I would say in 2 there are more inventive kills actually than in 3. But both of them were good, cheesy fun. Now, Psycho 4 is the best one in my opinion. They went back to the screenwriter from the original film. And Psycho 4 was actually a straight-to-cable film. And I remember when I was really young seeing these movies and loving them for what they were. Even at the time, I knew they were, you know, not what Psycho was. But I remember really liking Psycho 4 and thinking it was the best one. And so I was curious to see if that opinion held up over time, and it has. Henry Thomas played a great young Norman Bates. But, yeah, I recommend this. It was $6 at Big Lots for all 3 films. I think they're all bare bones, but the picture quality is really nice. Good transfer on all 3 films. Very clean, sharp, upscales nicely. Next up, we have The Manchurian Candidate, and I'm really running out of time here, guys. Don't want to go on too long. But I decided, since I touched upon the Blu-ray last week, it was time for me to pick up the original. And I picked this up at Mr. Unnameable's for $5. It's a really nice edition. I love the booklet inside. And again, the DVD packaging, you know, they used to put just a little bit of care, even into these, you know, catalog releases. You know, and it just gives a little bit of info about the film. Now, I realize the Blu-ray exists, but, you know, I don't know. I sprang for this. As far as this versus the remake is kind of a leaner thriller. You know, it moves along faster. Not as much character development. This takes its time. You know, building the characters, building the tension to the end. Very incredible script, incredible original idea based on, you know, well, based on the book. But thought Angela Lansbury did a really good job as his mother, but I preferred Meryl Streep in that role, and I like the fact that Meryl Streep was actually the senator and he was her son. In this film, Angela Lansbury is married to the senator. And also in this film, it's a communist plot, and in the remake, it's a global corporate plot. So, you know, in a lot of ways, I appreciated the updates to the story in the new film, but this one is definitely a classic, definitely one of the best thrillers ever made. Definitely worth your time, and the DVD looks nice. It's a pretty clean transfer. Upscales nicely, really good inky blacks. Highly recommended. And guys, I'm sorry, I am totally running out of time here. Last film I'm going to talk about real quick, the Tim Burton remake, Planet of the Apes. Soon I'm going to do a separate video of my Planet of the Apes Blu-ray set. I've just recently watched all 5 films, so I got the urge to, after many, many years, to revisit the Tim Burton version of Planet of the Apes. My initial opinion of it was very low, and I thought, well, let's give it another shot. And my opinion is still really low. This movie doesn't even feel like Tim Burton had any hand in it. It actually feels like one of those films that, you know, there were maybe 20 producers who all had their fingers in the pie. And I mean, I know there was a lot at stake, big budget production, you know, to try to revitalize a very important franchise to 20th Century Fox. I thought the casting of Mark Wahlberg was funny because he already looks like a monkey anyway. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about this film? I'm looking forward to the new one. I believe Zack Snyder is directing the new Planet of the Apes, and I believe James Franco is starring in it, if I remember correctly. I'm looking forward to that. I think Weta's doing the special effects, and it's going to be all CG creatures, which is actually an interesting idea, rather than the man in the suit. Well, I'm just going to say the best thing about this film is Tim Roth as the general. He was really good. I could go into a lot more about it, but as far as this edition, this is a really nice DVD edition. Love the artwork, very nice and shimmery. Nice 2-disc edition. Comes with a nice little booklet and a limited edition CD-ROM. Funny the things they used to put in these, but at least they put something in them. You know, nowadays they don't put anything at all. Well, that's going to do it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'm Crazy Jason, and you've been in my Wacky Emporium, baby.